Every day you delay taking care of your muscle health, especially in your legs, you lose a little more strength than you realize. And here's something most people don't know. According to data from the Journal of Applied Physiology, after the age of 30, you can lose up to 3 to 5% of your muscle mass per decade. But that rate of loss dramatically accelerates after age 60 unless you interrupt it. Now, here's the surprising part, and the reason you're here. Researchers have discovered that one specific action taken early in the morning can dramatically improve your ability to maintain and even rebuild leg muscle over time. It's not a supplement, it's not a special workout, and it doesn't require any complicated tracking. It has to do with how your body regulates anabolic signaling, the internal green light that tells your muscles, let's grow, let's stay strong, let's not waste away. And it's all governed by something you can activate within your first hour of waking. We'll get to the exact tool soon. But first, why are the legs so critical? From a neuroscience and longevity standpoint, your leg muscles are not just for movement, they're directly tied to how well your brain regulates balance, circulation, and even memory. Several studies, including one from King's College London, show that stronger legs are correlated with better cognitive aging. And from a behavioral science perspective, people who maintain lower body strength are far more likely to stay independent, mobile, and mentally sharp well into their 60s, 80s, and 90s. That's why I want to break this down clearly today, not just what to do, but why it works. We'll unpack the neuroscience of morning muscle activation, the hormonal cascades triggered by early behavior, and the metabolic edge you can create for your entire day, all by doing just one thing within an hour of waking up. And I'll share 6 science-backed insights that empower you to stop leg muscle loss before it becomes irreversible. You'll walk away from this video with a simple morning habit that can keep your legs and brain younger, longer. So if you're someone who wants to age with vitality, protect your mobility, and take full control of your physical future, this video is for you. Let's dive into the science and the protocol. Most people think muscle loss starts when you stop lifting weights, get older, or don't eat enough protein. But what if I told you the true origin of leg muscle decline actually begins in your brain? The key idea here is something called neural drive. This is your brain's ability to send strong, consistent electrical signals to your muscles. Think of it like a power supply. When neural drive is high, your muscles receive clear, consistent commands to contract, stabilize, and grow. When that drive weakens, as it often does with age or inactivity, your muscles get less stimulation. And with less stimulation comes slower response, weaker force, and ultimately muscle atrophy. Let's break it down with a real example. Imagine you're standing at the top of a staircase. Your brain calculates balance, tension, and which leg to engage, all in milliseconds. That entire cascade depends on your motor cortex, basal ganglia, and cerebellum, the brain's movement network, working at full speed. But when neural drive decreases, small signals become delayed or skipped entirely. You begin to favor one side. You hesitate. You lose strength, not because your muscle vanished overnight, but because your brain stopped asking it to activate fully. A study published in the Journal of Physiology 2020 found that older adults who engaged in regular motor-focused activities, even something as simple as daily brisk walking or stair climbing, showed stronger corticospinal activity than sedentary peers. This means their brains continued to prioritize muscle engagement, particularly in the legs. What's happening in your brain when this occurs is important. Regular, intentional lower body movement increases dopamine and BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, chemicals that enhance motor learning and muscle memory. It's like giving your nervous system a daily software update that says, these muscles matter, keep them online. Here's the problem. By the time people notice weakness, instability, or shrinking leg size, the neural signal has already been fading for months, even years. The body follows the brain. When your brain stops sending strong messages to move and engage, the muscle responds with a process called denervation atrophy, the loss of function due to a lack of neural input. So what's the takeaway? The first and most important step to prevent leg muscle loss is to reactivate neural drive every morning, especially before the body has had a chance to fall into passive sedentary rhythm. You don't need to hit the gym at 6 a.m. or do an intense workout. Instead, try this neuroscience-backed tool, the Brain First Morning Walk. Within 30 to 60 minutes of waking, go for a 5 to 10 minute walk, ideally outdoors. During that walk, focus on intentional steps, shifting weight, and moving both legs evenly. This creates active engagement of the motor cortex, proprioceptive feedback through your feet, and increases dopamine, all of which reboot your neural drive for the day. If you're limited in mobility, even practicing 5 minutes of mindful step-touch movements, standing leg lifts, or balancing exercises can help. The goal is to signal your brain these muscles are still needed. It's not about burning calories, it's about reminding your nervous system to keep your legs strong. This is the foundation, and it sets the stage for all the hormonal and muscular changes we'll talk about next. Every morning, whether you feel it or not, your body undergoes a hormonal surge that shapes your ability to build or lose muscle. And if you don't align your behavior with this internal rhythm, you're missing a critical opportunity to protect the muscle in your legs, especially as you age. Let's talk about two hormones, cortisol and testosterone. They're often misunderstood, especially cortisol. Many people think cortisol is bad, but in reality, cortisol is essential when it peaks early in the morning. It's part of what scientists call the cortisol awakening response, KR, a natural spike within the first 30 to 45 minutes of waking that helps mobilize energy, regulate inflammation, and kickstart metabolic activity. But here's the catch. If you stay sedentary during this window, if you wake up and scroll your phone, stay in low light, or skip movement, you flatten that natural peak, and that suppresses the anabolic signals your body depends on to maintain muscle mass. In a 2019 study published in Frontiers in Endocrinology, researchers found that participants who engaged in light physical activity within an hour of waking had a significantly more robust cortisol awakening response, which helped improve metabolic function and maintain lean body mass over time. Cortisol, when properly timed, actually supports muscle preservation by increasing glucose availability for movement and enhancing protein turnover, two vital processes in skeletal muscle health. Now, let's pair this with testosterone, a hormone crucial not only for men but also for women, particularly when it comes to muscle density and leg strength. Testosterone levels are highest in the morning, especially between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m., but research shows that these levels respond dynamically to movement, sunlight, and even breath work. A study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, 2021, showed that light exposure in the morning, even 15 to 20 minutes outdoors, increased testosterone levels and improved circadian hormone regulation in both men and women. Here's what the research shows. When you pair morning movement with natural light exposure, you amplify hormonal signaling, testosterone becomes more bioavailable, cortisol rises, but in a healthy anti-inflammatory pattern. And the combined result, a powerful anabolic signal that says to your muscles, stay, repair, grow. So how do we apply this? Here's a simple morning tool, the 10-10-10 protocol. 10 minutes of natural sunlight exposure, ideally within 30 to 60 minutes of waking, 10 minutes of light movement like walking, body weight squats, or leg swings, 10 deep nasal breaths in sync with movement to enhance vagal tone and hormonal receptivity. This simple stack is a science-backed way to align with your hormonal rhythms. It tells your brain, endocrine system, and muscles that the day has begun and that muscle tissue is still a priority. You might be wondering, but what if I can't get outside right away? Good question. While outdoor light is best, a bright light therapy lamp set to 10,000 lux can also stimulate the cortisol awakening response when used within the first 30 minutes of the day. And if movement feels difficult in the morning, even 5 minutes of seated leg marches or slow standing calf raises can activate the hormonal and neural pathways we're aiming for. So to summarize, the body is already giving you a gift each morning, a hormonal window that supports strength and muscle maintenance. All you have to do is show up with a little movement, a little light, and a few mindful breaths to keep your legs strong from the inside out. Habna. If this kind of insight is helping you reconnect with your body in a smarter way, consider subscribing. We dive into the science like this every week, and every tool is designed to help you age stronger, live better, and feel more in control. If you've ever thought, I don't have time for a full workout in the morning, here's some liberating science. You don't need a full workout to activate muscle growth pathways. Just 10 minutes of intentional movement, especially in the morning, can spark genetic and molecular responses that protect your leg muscles from wasting away. Let's break down how this works. When you move your muscles even at low intensity, you trigger a cascade of cellular signals that influence gene expression, particularly in muscle fibers. One of the most important of these is the mTOR pathway, short for mechanistic target of rapamycin. Think of mTOR as a molecular switch that governs muscle protein synthesis. When it's on, your body builds and maintains muscle. When it's off, like during long periods of sitting or inactivity, muscle breakdown accelerates. And here's the amazing part. A 2020 study from Cell Metabolism showed that short bouts of walking or stair climbing, even just 6 to 10 minutes, were sufficient to increase mTOR signaling and myokine release in older adults. Myokines are signaling molecules secreted by muscles during contraction that have protective effects across the entire body, including the brain, bones, and immune system. In essence, this small dose of morning movement acts like a molecular wake-up call to your muscles. We're still in use, don't shrink, stay functional. Here's a relatable analogy. Think of your muscles like a bank account. If you make just one small deposit every morning, 10 minutes of targeted movement, your balance stays strong. But skip those deposits day after day and the account starts to drain. Your body is always adjusting to demand. Low demand equals low maintenance. High or even moderate demand equals preservation. And what's particularly important for leg muscles is that they're highly sensitive to disuse. Unlike the upper body, the legs support your posture, circulation, and gait. Studies from NASA have shown that even a few days of bed rest or sedentary behavior leads to significant atrophy in the quads and calves. That's why astronauts have strict lower body movement protocols and why we need the same on Earth, especially as we age. So here's a practical tool anyone can use. No gym, no gear, no excuses. The 3-move morning activator. Do this sequence for just 10 minutes after you wake up. March in place to 1 minute, engages hip flexors and improves balance. Wall sit or chair sit to stand to 1 minute, activates quads and glutes. Standing calf raises to 1 minute, stimulates blood flow and lower leg strength. Repeat this circuit 3 times with 1 minute rest between rounds. These moves don't just build muscle, they maintain your neuromuscular communication, your balance coordination, and they light up gene pathways that keep your muscles metabolically active. And here's something even more powerful. This habit compounds over time. Researchers from the American Journal of Physiology found that people who did short daily morning movement routines preserved more leg muscle mass after age 60 than those who only exercised sporadically, even if the total weekly exercise minutes were the same. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency and timing. Ask yourself this: can I commit to 10 minutes a day to prevent 10 years of decline? Because that's the trade-off, and now you have the protocol to make it count. If you had to choose just one behavior to prevent leg muscle loss based on what we know from neuroscience, endocrinology, and movement science, what would it be? The answer may surprise you. It's not weightlifting. It's not stretching. It's not even protein consumption, although that's important. The single most effective morning behavior to prevent leg muscle atrophy is this: performing dynamic weight-bearing leg movements within the first hour of waking while your brain is still plastic and your hormones are primed. Why does this matter so much? Because morning is a window of enhanced neuroplasticity and hormonal receptivity. This is when the brain is most open to new signals, especially signals that affect motor control, posture, and strength. What's happening in your brain at this time is critical. Your motor cortex, spinal cord, and cerebellum are syncing up to reestablish your body's sense of space, balance, and movement coordination. Engaging your legs during this window sends signals through what neuroscientists call the corticospinal tract, the pathway that connects voluntary movement centers in the brain to your lower body muscles. But here's the real breakthrough. A 2021 study in neurobiology of aging found that early day dynamic movement, like heel-to-toe walking, lunges, or squats, significantly preserved motor neuron function in aging adults. Participants who consistently moved their legs early in the day retained more strength, better balance, and had fewer falls than those who were sedentary during the same window. And this ties back to a concept known as use-dependent plasticity.